Chairman Shaheen and Vice Chair Busey, and members of the Election Committee. I appreciate the opportunity to be here this morning to testify for you. My name is Jennifer Doynoff. I am the Hays County Election Administrator, and I wanted to start off with just a little bit of statistical data for Hays County because you're going to hear from a colleague in a minute that's in a very different county, and she's going to give you some information about her county, and I just want you to be able to put that in perspective. So Hays County, your neighboring county here in Travis County, has 183,000 registered voters. We have 14 early voting locations and 44 election day vote centers. Excuse me, I'm suffering from allergies today. I also serve as the legislative chair for the Texas Association of County Election Officials, as you just said. In 2024, Hays County had 68% turnout for the presidential election, and of that, 56% turned out in early voting. So we had a pretty high early voting. Across Texas, election officials held strong and secure elections with minimal issues. The Texas system does continue to be a model for the rest of the U.S. on how to run elections with high integrity. I attribute this success to the partnership with stakeholders around the state, including the Secretary of State's office, Texas Department of Emergency Management, the AG's office, Texas Association of Counties, and other groups, local citizens in our counties, and law enforcement, and of course the state legislature. My colleagues and I offer ourselves as subject matter experts to you on the actual implementation and running of elections here in Texas. We're excited to work with each of you to establish positive policy changes that enhance the election process and improve voter confidence. To briefly touch on just a handful of our priorities, which I think we've met with some of your offices on, and I know we've sent letters out. First, our association has been working with legislators to clean up Senate Bill 924, which I understand is being heard right now as we speak over on the Senate side, that was passed in the 88th legislative session. While we understand the intentions of the original bill, the unintended consequences of adding polling location and finding additional workers were more than some counties could accommodate in this past election. Finding both workers and locations has become increasingly difficult. There's 3 bills currently to address this, and so we look forward to working with you on this. Second, our association believes in a countywide polling place program offers benefits to Texas voters in many ways. The program is efficient, accurate, and is auditable. Currently, 99 counties participate in the program, and just about 85% of the voters in the state vote in a countywide polling place county on election day. County election officials are supportive of the countywide polling place program, particularly in how it benefits the emergency management and also disabled voters. I look forward to working with this committee to strengthen the program as we collaborate to improve our elections' accuracy, integrity, and confidence. In 2024, we began to see concerns over ballot privacy. It was rumored that countywide polling place program negatively impacts ballot privacy, which is not the case. Ballot privacy is something that our association and membership takes very seriously. It's an issue in all counties, regardless of whether or not they're countywide polling place or precinct-based. This problem presents itself due to situations where there are small election precincts, few people in a certain precinct voting either by mail or in person in early voting or election day, or overall low voter turnout. County election officials have worked closely with the Secretary of State on and voting equipment providers to improve redaction standards. And as you heard before from the Secretary of State, this remedy is not 100% effective and is not sustainable to make sure that we provide these protections. We look forward to working with this committee to protect every Texas voter's right to a secret ballot. Legislators have made many positive reforms to pre- and post-election auditing, like the reconciliation forms that we saw come out of the 2021 session. Before every election, counties perform public systems test of election equipment to check its accuracy. And additionally, all Texas elections are audited through the partial manual count after each election. So these are some of the steps that we take before and after the election to ensure that systems are acting as they should and tabulating as they should. In addition to that, in 2026, Texas counties will be required to hold a second audit called the risk limiting audit after each election. Several Texas counties have participated in a pilot program, RLA, with the Secretary of State and look forward to having this additional layer of security and accountability. We would love to partner with any legislators interested in continuing to improve the overall audit process for Texas elections. County election officials have come a long way since 2020. Although Texas has a long-standing history of strong election laws and policy, we always strive to do better, and we know we can do better. Another priority we've identified that will help this process is a change in the law to allow voters currently registered in Texas to transfer during the 30 days of the election to another county and take that voter registration with them. And we'll talk in a minute about how some of the things you just heard about would be, this would help in those situations. Our members feel that this would improve accuracy and security of our elections by eliminating the need to vote limited ballots and lessening the number of voters that vote provisionally. This would make elections easier for the public to audit, providing more apples-to-apples reporting, and make reconciliation and ensuring voters that vote on ballots with races that they are eligible to vote for their current address. These are voters that are already in the team system and already have been verified and live checked through the team system. And then finally, confidentiality for election officials. And that is our poll workers as well. It's very crucial in this day and time. Finding good trained workers to replace the ones that are leaving is becoming difficult. Workers in Hays County have been visited in their homes and have been questioned by people who misrepresent themselves. And lately, threats against election workers have increased. You heard some things earlier about some things that have happened to our election workers in the polls. And we look forward to working with you to protect our election workers. Thank you, and I am ready for questions.
Thank you, Mary, very much. Members, are there any questions? Vice Chair Busey.
Mr. Chairman, can you just talk a little bit about how countywide polling has benefited either your association, if you want to speak as a whole, or your county, your experience?
Sure. So I think it benefits in a lot of ways. One being what we just talked about, emergency management. It gives us the ability, if on election day there is one of the things that Christina talked about earlier, fire, outage, flood, that we can move those locations or be able to send voters to a different location, which would be difficult to do in a precinct situation because we don't have that many locations in a single precinct. So it's good for that. It's good for persons with disabilities in that they can select polling locations that are more conducive to their own needs. And I say that because I know that a lot of disabled voters in Hays County like to go to a particular location because it has an awning and they can pull up and vote, and there's no sun and there's no rain, and it's just a lot easier. So it gives them that also. I think there's a fiscal impact to doing it. I think it's.
That was my next question. Can you anticipate if we were to ban countywide polling, would you think there'd be an increase in costs or access and any other things you can anticipate if we were to have to go back?
There would be, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fiscal note that we put on the Senate Bill 924. It would just be twice as much that. And I think it came to, I want to say, around $2 million. We left some spreadsheets with some of y'all's offices on this, but that is...
Is that just in your county?
Oh, no, that's statewide, okay. Yes. Yeah. And that is, and I could be off on that. I did not bring that spreadsheet up here. But it would be more equipment. It would be likely rental for polling locations because we don't have the polling locations out there, and it's becoming harder and harder to find schools and churches, private buildings that want to do the voting, and so we've seen an increase in rent, polling place rent, and I know larger counties have as well. So,
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for your work.
thank you.
Members, any other questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Chair calls Samuel Durheimer from Hart Intercivic.